I'm Caitlin Kindle. Let's check in with Mayor Tom Henry, who is addressing Allen County. Let's listen in.
Update on the COVID-19 situation here in Fort Wayne. Before I get started, I would like to personally thank all the media, whether it's electronic media, written media, social media, all of you that contribute to getting the word out to our citizens. I think you've done a magnificent job in making sure that the citizens of Fort Wayne, Allen County stay abreast of the current situation in our city relative to the coronavirus environment. With more cases of COVID-19 being confirmed in Allen County, we wanted to come together today to update you on the community's response to the pandemic and answer any questions that you might have relative to the involvement of all of those behind me. I truly value and appreciate the Allen County Commissioners, our local law enforcement, and the Department of Health for their involvement as we pursue treatment and the environment for those affected by COVID-19. I want to stress that there is a stay-at-home mandate now by the governor of the state of Indiana. That mandate goes into effect at midnight tonight and will stay until midnight April the 6th. However, in certain cases, we realize that you must go out, whether it's to essential workplace, to the grocery store, or to your doctor's office. In those particular cases, we're going to ask you to please continue social distancing when you can. Wash your hands thoroughly. I know we say that over and over again, but unquestionably that is one of the best things that you can do to keep it contained. Use hand sanitizer. If you need some, let us know. We'll get you some. It's that important. And limit your outside activities. There's no question you should be going outside from time to time to recreate. But unfortunately, we're asking you to do it individually rather than in a group. Most of the questions that our office has received as far as this pandemic has to do with public safety, whether or not we have enough police officers, firefighters, backup police support, and emergency personnel to handle this situation. I can assure you that we do. We have almost 500 police officers, almost 400 firefighters, several hundred deputy sheriffs, all standing ready to be of assistance should that need arise. 911 and 311 services continue to operate at full capacity. And our essential services, such as our drinking water, our wastewater plant operations, they continue to work 24/7. And we will continue our garbage and recycling pickup because it is also an essential service. Now, the cityoffortwayne.org has a community resource page that is full of valuable health information and can be accessed by you 24/7. This time I would like to ask Allen County Commissioner Nelson Peters to come forward. But my parting advice to you is not unlike the advice that was given by the British government back in World War II. And that is simply to stay calm and carry on. Commissioner?
Thanks, Mayor. I just want to say in particular, thanks to you and thanks to the city for the even stronger partnership that's developed between the city and the county during this situation. And also there's so much thanks that is due to the medical care providers, all of those people who are tirelessly working on the front line in our communities. They include first responders, they include police, fire, EMS. So if you see them, tell them thanks. You know, without them, we've got real problems. And I really want to say thanks to the community. Thanks to the community for your patience in working with us to get through this situation. You know, we will come out of this as an Allen County community stronger and better because of the experiences that we're all facing together today and in this time. There's just a couple of themes I want to hit. One is that it continues to be in an evolving situation, the COVID-19 epidemic, that really necessitates an all-hands-on-deck approach in this community. The governor's order, I'll touch on it just briefly. Folks, it's not going to cripple this community, but what it does do is underscore the need to utilize common sense. The current challenges are really presenting opportunities to relook at things in our community as well as how we do things in Allen County government. You know, I've heard a number of business owners remark how this challenge has given them the opportunity to look at more efficient ways to run their operations. I think that's fantastic, and those are the kinds of things that are going to make us a better community as we get through this. I want to talk real quick about the community and some of the things that I think are appropriate and can be done from a community standpoint as well as a business standpoint. There is just a ton of collaboration that's going on right now in the areas of health care, dealing with the elderly and the most vulnerable, the provision of food, mental health, infrastructure, child care. You know, folks, this is a battle that we will win through the collaboration and the exercise of common sense. Some of the things the community ought to be doing would be let the medical care providers, the first responders, know that they're appreciated in this community. Offer some of the services that you may be able to provide: sewing, food services, child care, etc. Do you know of retired, part-time, or out-of-work nurses, as an example? Adhere to the governor's orders so that the enforcement of them can last be on the minds of public safety officials who may have to enforce them. Patronize those local food establishments that are doing carry-out food. Utilize best practices, as the mayor suggested, to avoid COVID-19, hand washing, social distancing, disinfecting high-touch areas, and not shaking hands. Look, folks, to credible sources for information rather than rampant rumors perpetuated by social media. Businesses, gosh, thanks to you for all of the things you're already doing to transition to provide personal protective equipment. I've heard GM is changing over some of their lines to provide ventilators. Boat manufacturers are getting into the sewing mode so they can provide masks and other garments for the medical community. Local businesses are stepping up to the plate as well. I've heard of the provision of food services to some of the less served in this community happening right here in the Allen County community. Transitioning to extra bed space. Anybody know of extra bed space? There might come a time where we're going to have to utilize those things. People in your employ can also help the community with some of the related issues. If you've got employees right now that can be spared, please offer them up. Develop some internal policies allowing your personnel to work from home, and regularly communicate with your employees regarding how they might be affected by the changes in your business. Let me talk quickly about Allen County government. We've got a continuity of operation plans that identifies crucial to the business personnel versus others that can provide perhaps a better contribution from home. Many of the crucial operations will be public safety, Department of Health, and some of the other 24/7 operations that make up county government. To comply with the governor's executive orders beginning tomorrow, we will in fact close all Allen County offices to the public, and that even includes this area right here, which has been opened up over the last week or so. We will require those who are most crucial to the business to come to work. And as I've just mentioned to you, some of them are public safety, Department of Health, those people who will be in the trenches to continue to protect you. The others will be able to work from home, and yet others will continue to receive a pay to some extent as they're temporarily out of the buildings that house county employees. These policies that develop regarding these issues are continually reevaluated, but that one in particular will be reviewed again to coincide with the governor's order when it's lifted. A request has been sent to all department heads and employees to quickly compile listings of all available services, which will ultimately be published on our website, which is www.allencounty.us. Again, that's www.allencounty.us. In the days to follow, give you a better idea of what it is coming out of county government. I just want to say in closing, folks, we've already done a ton in this short time. So it shows what collaboration can do to create a successful community. There are best practices that are being developed every time we turn around from the experiences we've seen in Italy and China, and they'll help us to move through this situation a little bit more quickly. We've already become stronger as a result of everything that's happening in this community. And if we continue this incredible collaboration, we'll emerge a much stronger Allen County. Thanks so much to this community, to the people standing behind me, to city and county operations, and to the community for their patience. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Jay Favre from Parkview's Behavioral Health Institute.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'm Jay Favre. I'm a psychiatrist. And as you can imagine, a psychiatrist at this time is going to be dealing with a lot of people having a lot of stress. When you endure the kind of changes that we've had to endure, you can have overwhelming stress, and stress can lead to the resultant despair. And when we deal with people with severe medical illness, or when we're dealing with people with suicidal depression, the one thing that leads to their no longer having a willingness to live will be the loss of hope. So as we endure this crisis, it's important that we try to provide realistic hope to people. Not false hope, but realistic hope, because hope is today's perspectives on tomorrow's expectations. So as we look at providing hope for people, we need to realize that we've had viruses before that were dangerous. Think about them: HIV, Ebola, Zika. What did those three viruses have in common? They were catastrophically deadly, they were contagious, but they were all contained. So my hope as we deal with this coronavirus is that we're going to, number one, be able to find that it's time limited. My hope is that it will be geographically isolated, and my hope is that we're going to have treatment. If we look at the means of containing it and the geographical isolation and treatment, first from a containment standpoint, we know by history that respiratory viruses don't like the sunshine and they don't like warmth. I am so grateful and I feel so blessed that we're in the start of spring right now, not the start of winter. For one thing, as we're being isolated in our households, we're able to get out of the household. The governor did not put us all on lockdown for home detention. We need to remember that. The governor specifically said, we can go to the park, we can get around, and we can get some fresh air. And based on my rudimentary knowledge of immunology, viruses don't like fresh air. So the fresh air, the sunshine, the warmth, I'm hopeful that that's going to see a time limitation on this virus. There's the geographical isolation we're hoping. That's what we're doing now, the social isolation, trying to stay away from each other. Like the bubonic plague, when we eradicated the fleas that were going from human to human, my hope is that as we stay our social distancing, we'll be able to eradicate the virus from going to human to human. So with social distancing, I'm hoping that's going to take care of a lot of this on its own. And finally, from a treatment standpoint, it's very common that we use medications that are already available for other conditions. Think of aspirin. Aspirin was originally used for pain. Now we're commonly using aspirin to decrease the risk of stroke and heart attack because aspirin makes platelets less sticky. That wasn't its original use. We might find medications that are currently available being used for this particular condition to get it under control. So with that said, this virus is going to keep us home for a couple weeks, and we'll see what happens after that. But we're having Passover come up in a little over 2 weeks, the Jewish holiday of Passover. So let's hope and pray that this will be our Passover, and this virus indeed will pass over us. It's coming from the east and west coast, but let's hope and pray this virus will pass over us, and this will be our Passover. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Commissioners and I thought it was important that Dr. Favre come and spend a few minutes with all of you, making sure that, again, we don't panic in this community, that we stay as calm as we can, realizing that we have a dangerous situation now because of COVID-19. But at the same time, as the Commissioner so eloquently put it, we can get through this. We faced challenges before in this community. We got through it, and we can do it again. With that, there are a number of individuals behind me all trying to practice safe distancing. I hope you've observed that. But on purpose, public safety personnel are here, healthcare personnel are here, including Dr. McMahon, who I owe a great debt of gratitude to. She's been a real leader in the effort to make sure that our community remains acutely aware of what's going on. We also have, again, business personnel, elected officials, all ready to take any of your questions concerning their role in this particular pandemic. At this time, though, we'd be glad to take a couple questions from the floor if there are any, and then we'll be available for individual interviews. Yes.
You mentioned early on in your statement that anybody who needs hand sanitizer can get it.
Yes.
I was asked 3 or 4 times in our Facebook Live, how can people get that? Because they're running out when
well, we have several companies who have really stepped up, and believe it or not, even distilleries who are taking their ability to make vodka in our community and combining it with the proper ingredients and making hand sanitizer. We have a couple of other companies, Sanco, who has already supplied the city of Fort Wayne, our offices with 250 gallons of hand sanitizer. So it is available out there. I think what you need to do is, again, go to the internet, find out who in our community is stepping up to make that available. I do not believe we have a shortage of hand sanitizers, just finding out who has it available to you. And again, some of them are giving it away, and what a tremendous statement for the companies in our community to make sure that we stay healthy.
Real quick, we've getting a lot of input from the public wanting to know, hey, they're making me go to work. I think my company's a non-essential business. How is that being determined, and for some guidance to the community about whether you should be actually asked to go to work when you feel like maybe you shouldn't be asked because of the safety concerns?
Well, there are several questions there. First of all, there are a list of the companies who are exempt from the governor's orders, either on the City of Fort Wayne webpage or the State of Indiana's webpage. John, do you have that also on the Greater Fort Wayne's webpage? You can go access any of those, and they will give you the exceptions to the rule, if you will, from the governor's office as far as those companies that are essential. Secondly, again, we've said over and over again, if you feel ill, if you have a scratchy sore throat, if you have a dry cough, if you have a fever, don't go to work. Call your family doctor, call a healthcare provider, let them know your situation, work with them on determining what your next step should be. The worst thing you can do if you have those symptoms or several of the others that apparently are a part of that virus, the worst thing you can do is go to work and potentially infect others. Stay at home. Call a healthcare provider.
Will or how will police enforce this order starting tomorrow?
Chief?
Yes, thank you. I do not anticipate having to enforce this order. I think the good folks of Fort Wayne, Allen County will abide by the governor's decision. If forced to do so, obviously we will enforce, and we do have the statutes relevant to this. I can give those to you later. That gives us that authority and what the penalty would be.
To piggyback off of that, how are we handling the homeless situation? Those who don't have permanent resident, those who don't have a place to go, because we know that rescue mission that we currently have fills up, and a lot of the other places fill up as well very quickly.
Right. I believe that the mayor can answer that.
Obviously, that's a challenge that our community has. Fortunately, we have had a number of faith-based community organizations stepping up and providing limited housing for those that are in a homeless situation. Again, trying to recognize that their environment may be somewhat limited as far as space, realizing that the governor and the president want 10 or fewer people in any particular setting. They are trying to address it as well as they can through the associated churches and other organizations, and other social service agencies that are trying to step up as well. But there's no question it is a challenge.
But this is not something that's going to end up necessarily needing to be enforced by police.
Again, we're trying to understand, have some compassion for those individuals in our community who are facing extremely difficult times. It's not just the homeless. As all of you know, we've had tens of thousands of people now affecting or being affected by very dire situations, whether it's employment or social environments, housing, and the like. So it's a tremendous challenge for our community, but we are trying to address it one segment at a time. I also want to thank, as I did earlier, all of you, the social service agencies and members of the faith-based community who have stepped up and said to us, let us be of help in any way we can. Again, what a tremendous statement from the city of Fort Wayne, from the county of Allen, because that's the kind of city we are, that's the kind of county we are.
You were just listening in to Mayor Tom Henry along with Allen County officials who hosted a news conference to provide an update on the community's response to COVID-19. Some of the key talking points he talked about, he kind of spoke on the governor's stay-at-home order. He also gave a few websites. We'll have those on our website, WPTA21.com, for resources for you. Maybe you have questions about if your business is an essential business, what businesses are open. Another point, the Allen County Commissioner did say that all Allen County offices will be closed starting tomorrow due to that stay-at-home order. And one final thing, he did say if anybody needs, the mayor said, if anybody needs hand sanitizer, there is a link on the City of Fort Wayne's website that you can figure out how you can get some.